Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Dani Dishes. I hope everyone is doing well. I cannot believe it's been 2 weeks since my last update, but things have been a little chaotic here recently and things really kind of escalated. It was probably the last 10 days. So let's see. So on July 12th, as I was getting ready to go to an amazing trail race, my car decided to die in the middle of the road. Panic ensued. I don't handle things like that very well because I don't really understand cars very well. Not my forte, really. But, so it just kaput. Basically, like, was ready to drive through a green light and just stopped working. So, luckily enough, I was able to navigate myself onto the side of the road, and my friend was able to come pick up her bib, and we were not sure if I was going to be able to make it to the race or not. Luckily, I was in the car early because I wanted to get some coffee before the run. So thankfully, my Dunkin' addiction saved me a little bit because I was out earlier than expected for the race. So luckily enough, if you were looking for a good time in the Boston area to break down, Sunday morning is it. The tow truck driver was there, I swear, in like 15-20 minutes. It was awesome. I probably broke down less than a mile from my house, and luckily the mechanic is about 2 miles from where I broke down, very close to my house. So we were able to drop the car off. My wife and I walked back. Luckily, my mom had left her car in the driveway for the weekend, so Tori borrowed that to drop me off at the race. I made it with like 15 minutes to spare. It was like this awesome entrance that I made. We can just pretend it was an awesome entrance. Really, it was like throw things down, put the bib on, get to the start line, and make it because I was in wave 1, which was going off right at 9:30. So luckily I made it just in time. Ended up having a great race. It was awesome to hang out with the Slum Happy Souls as always. And so it was kind of like, okay, week kind of went on. Car was in the shop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday morning, do my personal coaching calls, get ready to leave to go lead some meetings, and all of a sudden Molly, our oldest dog, collapses. So basically, like, I heard her kind of like stumbling, and then it was like flat to the ground. She was conscious the whole time, breathing, thankfully, but all of a sudden she was out, and she wasn't really responding to me. Like, I could see her blinking and looking, but when I called her name, she wasn't really doing anything. Unfortunately, she kind of had some bathroom issues while she was down there, so I called our vet, and they immediately said, get her into the emergency room. And as I just stated, car was in the shop. Not really sure how to get to the emergency room. So thankfully, Tori, my wife, was able to Uber home, so she was able to make it home in time before we headed to the ER. And luckily, my dad works really close by and was able to come home and pick my wife, myself, and Molly up, and we headed to Angel Memorial Medical Center in Jamaica Plain. Amazing, amazing service. 3 hours later, we come home without real explanation. They believe she had a seizure, which happens in older dogs, but thankfully since then, she has been back to normal. Knock on wood that it was a one-time thing, I hope. So that was Wednesday's stress. Thursday happens, and our other dog, Lainey, who is a 4-year-old Beagle mix, had been a little lethargic, and so I thought maybe it was the heat. It was like really hot. And then by the time Thursday rolled around, just about to leave for the Billy Joel concert, and all of a sudden it just seems like she hasn't really eaten in over 24 hours. She's not really herself at all. She's really lethargic and wasn't really like responding when I called to her. It took her a long time to get over. Call the vet again. They immediately say rush her into the ER because she could be dehydrated or something else. So I send family off to the Billy Joel concert. Lainey and I head to the ER in rush hour traffic, which is awesome. So it normally takes like 20 minutes to get there. It took us like 50 minutes. Thankfully, my dad let me borrow his truck to get her over to the ER. And so then I spent about 2.5 hours with Lainey in the ER. They also didn't really know what was wrong. They thought it could have been something called Addison's disease, which is producing steroids because she had a UTI, so it usually manifests itself when a crisis happens, and so her body went into crisis mode over the UTI, and that's why she could have been lethargic and not really eating. So they did some blood tests, and they sent us home. So we were going to head to the Cape the Friday morning because it was my wife's birthday weekend, but I decided, you know what, let's just wait a little bit till we get the results of the blood test. Well, we got the results of the blood test on Friday at like 10:30-ish, and they said, bring her in, we have to hospitalize her and monitor her for the next like 48 to 72 hours. So we bring Lainey in. It takes her like 90 minutes to get admitted. Sorry, this is a drawn out story, but just kind of like letting you know what the week is like. So we get Lainey admitted, she's in, and I feel better because I know she's under supervision. They're gonna hopefully be able to test her for the Addison's disease and get her eating and at least get her potassium and sodium levels up. We decided to take the drive to the Cape because we can try to salvage the birthday weekend. And hey, Lainey is in the hospital under good supervision. We've got 48 to 72 hours. Not much more we can do for her. Sitting at home worrying isn't really going to help. We get to the Cape. We have a nice night. We wake up the next morning, sleep in, which was amazing. All of a sudden, I get a call from the hospital. They're going to release Lainey early, which is great news. But I feel bad. It's the wife's birthday. And so now we get to sit in traffic driving home from the Cape. But all in all, it was great to have Lainey home. Thankfully, her energy level has been much improved. She's eating regularly. We're still going to have to basically wean her off of the prednisone that she's been taking. So hopefully in a month, we'll be able to test to see whether it's the actual Addison's disease or not. But luckily now, and on Sunday, I got my car back. So thankfully, all the three kind of bad things that happened together have now been resolved. So now we've got car back and 2 healthy dogs, knock on wood. Needless to say, it's been a stressful week. I am really proud of myself for not really relying at all on emotional eating. There was definitely some like lazy eating that happened and some celebratory eating for the wife, but at no point did I like immediately dive into a bag of chips to try to make myself feel better. And for that, I felt really proud of myself. I think part of it is because I kind of like took charge and like just focused on what the doctors needed and like making sure that Lainey got her meds and that making sure that Molly was okay. And so I think kind of like focusing on my energy on that and cuddling them and making them feel better allowed me to kind of segue off of the emotional eating. So there was some good that came of it because, you know, emotional eating is a really tough thing to deal with. And when 3 things happen in a week, it can really kind of spiral out of control. So I was really proud about that. And so now we are a week later, and thankfully, as I said, the dogs are doing well. So I wanted you to see that they are here during filming. There's Lainey. And there's Molly, thankfully both doing very well. So I'm very happy to have them both home and that they were able to enjoy the viewing and the filming of Dani Dishes. So that's their little cameo. And they were actually quiet, so they will get a treat at the end. Yay! So that has been my week. Things happen in 3, so I'm hoping that we are done for a while. We've done enough. But I hope everyone else had a much better week, and I will see you all later. See ya!